Hey everyone and welcome back to the Final Fantasy XIV, where today it is time for our level 58 Scholar Quest. Before we get started, Minion Roulette's giving us a Torgal Pup. Hello there. Still need to play 16 at some point. I know there's some issues with 16, but I do want to play it at some point, just for the sake of having played it. Oh yes, before we begin, the changes to Scholar in patch 7.3. Two changes relevant to us at this level. I believe Sucker was increased from 15 yalms to 20 yalms, and what was the other one? Indomitability was also increased from 15 yalms to 20 yalms radius. All of our AoE heals got increased by 5 yalms of radius. Very nice, very convenient for us. Alright, Surito Carito, what's up today? Any luck finding that voidsent? Surito Carito would again ask for your assistance, and Physic is about to become completely irrelevant. Mostly. How goes the training, friends? As Satora's comrade-in-arms, it is clear that her prowess with the scholarly arts has increased immeasurably thanks to Sergeant Tolga's advice. Alas, the same cannot be said for me. I had already thought myself a master of Nemean techniques, frankly, based on what I had gleaned from the tablets we uncovered. But this sergeant's training has robbed me of that notion. I am still a novice. Until Sergeant Tolga says I am worthy, I wish to continue training. Your ambition does you well, Alkazoka. Stay true to this path, and you will become as fine a marine as ever marched under our banner. Well, I suppose I have no choice but to ask you to do the work of two, Satora. I have tried every method known to me to find our missing voidsent, but without success. It seems Nemean magics will not suffice. That comes as a little surprise. This voidsent was in Voxthral, and chosen for its ability to circumvent Nemean wards. Yes, which is why I hope your academics have answers I do not. Have you any writings on voidsent? I believe the Thaumaturgus Guild in Ul'dah has a collection dating back centuries, including some authored by their Baladian forefathers. Baladian, not Vaki. Perhaps they were heirs to the Void Mage legacy. In any case, this Ul'dah seems worth a visit. Will you go in my stead, Satora? Of course. I suggest you seek out Yayaki. She is an old friend whose love of ancient tomes rivals mine own. I wish I could see her in person, but I must continue my training as well as look after the new recruits. New recruits? Oh my god. 1, 2, 3. To victory, Satora, come hells or high water. Wow, we are straight up just trying to revive Nemean battle techniques entirely. You all have fun. When I'm done with you, Horsons, you might be worthy of the Royal Marines. Until then, you're no better to me than pudding, and rotten pudding at that. Very vicious. Alright, on to Ul'dah. We of course know Yayaki very well as the rest of the Thaumaturgus Guild, so let's go say hi to some old friends. Who we haven't visited in a while because we've been working with the Black Mages. Our own Avatar of Devastation. To what do we owe the pleasure? So I'm looking for books on Vaki Void Mage magic? Alka, as in Alkazolka? That is not a name I expected to hear, but I am glad my fellow book lover as well. I have indeed read of voidsent able to perfectly conceal their form. There was a tome on the subject. Unseen was the title, penned in the 5th Astral Era. Unfortunately, it is no longer part of our collection. A member of the guild borrowed it for his research expedition, a project which was to last some few moons. However, that was 5 years ago and he has not been heard from since. A pity. He proposed the most fascinating theories on voidsent and traveled to the western highlands of Kurthus to put them to the proof. Alas, that area was rendered inhospitable by the calamity. There is a chance, of course, that the man is alive and the book unharmed. We trace his journey as far as Falcon's Nest. Mayhaps someone there can point you towards where he ventured next. Falcon's Nest. Alright then, we are heading quite a ways out there. Nope, not Tailfeather. And we're going to want to switch into our cold weather clothing as soon as we get there. There we go, much better. Now then. Redwald, would you happen to know an old member of the Thaumaturge's Guild who may have come here with a book? How now, adventurer? On the tale of a researcher who visited 5 years ago. That is not much to go on. The garrison was still stationed here in those days. Subani is in charge of organizing the records. If any here know of your researcher, it'll be her. Alright, Subani. Looks like you're going to be hanging out in the mess hall? There you are. Oh, hello. How might I help you? A man researching voidsent? Yes, where was it he was mentioned? Ah, that's right. He stayed here for a time before taking the North Star downriver, which was one among many sunk by that fearsome Primal's rampage during the Calamity. The lucky few who made it to shore were then eaten by Vilekin. Well, the boat ran aground and hasn't moved since the river froze over. You may wish to research the wreck yourself, though do be careful of the local wildlife. Oof. Oof, that is some incredibly bad timing. Would also explain why the researcher went missing. Though, how dare you try and lock the Calamity to still being 5 years ago? How dare you try and mess with the timeline I've written for my own character? Seriously though, the developers have actually stated in live letters as recently as post-Endwalker that I think it was the first live letter after 6.0 launched. They did say that they try not to specify how long events take in-game or how much time has passed, at least nowadays, because they want to allow people to write their own stories for their characters, including the passage of time. And also, they don't want to deal with people saying like, hey, why hasn't Alphino grown up in the 10 years this game has been running since the reboot with Realm Reborn? Why does he still look the same in the most current expansions other than his outfit? Let the boy have a growth spurt already. The only excuse they've been able to give for why they haven't done that, other than they don't want backlash from making him look older, is... Oh, wow, that is a boat indeed. Very big boat. But yeah, the only excuse they've given other than they just don't want player backlash is that Elezen have very late growth spurts. Like, not until like their mid-20s or something like that do they hit their adulthood growth spurt. Which I think they should give us adult Alphino. We deserve adult Alphino, and I think anyone who complains about it should look at the fact that this game's been going for so many years, and time has definitely passed. Alright, goodbye to you. Let's check if this crate has what we're looking for. Maybe we'll get lucky. Did we find it? Well, we sure aren't looking in the bag. We're just gonna take it right back to Sorito Carito. Alright, I return, and it looks like Alcazulca's training is done for now. Have you found anything to aid our cause? I did. I found this bag. Items believed to be carried on the person of a Void Scholar gone missing 5 summers past. These things have all seen better days. Ah, but here's the book, and the writing is still legible. It will take time and patience, but I am hopeful its secret will allow us to snare our invisible voidsent. Do mine ears deceive me, or did you track down a book? Splendid, Satora! As for me, I would like to think I've improved by leaps and bounds thanks to Sergeant Tolga. The recruits are coming along nicely as well. With a bit more training, every individual in our unit will be able and ready to face our voidsent foe in battle. Very good, then let us all attend to our tasks. The day of reckoning will be upon us soon enough. Alright, let's go fix our glam real quick because I forgot to fix that even though it doesn't really matter anymore since we're at the end of the episode. Alright, we've got Emergency Tactics. What does this do for us? This is an ability that is very, very useful, and yet I invariably forget it all the time. If you use it, it can completely replace Physic. Emergency Tactics transforms the next Galvanize and Catalyze statuses, from Enloquium and Sucker, into HP recovery equaling the amount of damage reduction intended for the barrier. So, you use this, and with a 15-second cooldown before you can use it again, Enloquium and Sucker become direct heals. That's excellent! And, given that their potencies total greater than Physic, let's see. Enloquium is 300 potency plus a 125% shield. So that is a 675 potency heal this would be. And if it gets a critical, it gets another 125%. So that would become a 1050 potency direct heal. So objectively, quite a bit better than Physic. For quite a bit more MP, but that doesn't really matter too much. Sucker, meanwhile, 200 potency and a 115% barrier, gives us a total of a 430 potency group heal, still stronger than Physic. Still stronger than Physic. And it becomes a group heal. If you actually use this, unlike me, you don't need Physic anymore. In fact, I'm tempted to remove Physic from my health bar entirely, but if I ever end up doing content that is low level enough that I don't have Emergency Tactics, I'll probably want to have Physic on board, just in case. Just in case, because Physic is useful in a few situations. No, you know what? Screw it. Physic is going up there out of the way so I don't use it on accident. I'm going to force myself to use Emergency Tactics because it is the right thing to do. It is a very good ability. I would like to have access to those direct heals. Those very powerful direct heals. Alright then, with that, with Emergency Tactics under our belt, next time on Final Fantasy XIV, what's next? I believe more main story. I'll see everyone next time for that.